Welcome back to the channel, everybody. In today's video, we're going to be covering the one, the only, Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers, the rap god himself, Eminem. Buckle up, and let's just get right into it. Eminem was born on October 17th, 1972 in St. Joseph, Missouri. Being named after his father, his real name is Marshall Bruce Mathers III. His father's name was Marshall Bruce Mathers Jr., and his mother's name was Deborah Ray Nelson. His mother actually nearly died during her 73-hour labor with Eminem. His father would leave the family, moving to California after having two other children, Michael and Sarah. His mother later had a son named Nathan Kane Samara. During his childhood, Eminem and his mother shuttled between Detroit and Missouri, rarely staying in one house for more than a year or two and living primarily with family members. In Missouri, they lived in several places, including St. Joseph, Savannah, and Kansas City. As a teenager, Eminem wrote letters to his father. His mother said that they all came back marked "Return to Sender." When he was a child, a bully named D'Angelo Bailey severely injured his head in an assault, an incident which Eminem later recounted, with some hyperbole, on the song Brain Damage. His mother would file a lawsuit against the public school for this in 1982. The suit was later dismissed the following year by a Macomb County, Michigan judge who said the schools were immune from lawsuits. Em and his mother lived for much of his youth in a working-class, primarily black Detroit neighborhood. He and his mom were one of three white households on their block, and Eminem was beaten several times by some of the black kids in the neighborhood. As a child, he was interested in storytelling, aspiring to be a comic book artist before ultimately discovering hip-hop. He heard his first rap song, Reckless, featuring Ice-T, on the Breakin' soundtrack, which was a gift he received from his mom's half-brother, Ronnie Polkenhorn. He and his Uncle Ronnie would become very close, with Ronnie later actually becoming like a musical mentor to him of sorts. When his Uncle Ronnie committed suicide in 1991, M stopped speaking publicly for days and refused to attend his uncle's funeral as well. M's home life was rarely, if ever, stable. He frequently fought with his mother, whom a social worker described as having a quote-unquote very suspicious, almost paranoid personality. When M became famous, his mother dismissed criticism of herself, saying that she had sheltered him and was fairly responsible for his success. In 1987, Debbie allowed a runaway by the name of Kimberly Ann Scott, aka Kim, to stay at their home. And as the story goes, several years later, Eminem began an on and off again relationship with Kim. After spending 3 years in the 9th grade due to truancy and poor grades, Eminem would drop out of Lincoln High School at the age of 17. He worked at several jobs to help his mother pay the bills. One of the jobs he had was with Little Caesars Pizza in Warren, Michigan. He later said she often threw him out of the house anyway, often after even taking most of his paycheck. When his mom would leave the house to play bingo, he would blast the stereo and just write songs. At age 14, he began rapping with his high school friend Mike Ruby. They adopted the names Mannix and M, as in like spelling like the candy, before actually evolving into spelling it the way we know. M would sneak into neighboring Osborne High School with his friend and fellow rapper Proof for lunchroom freestyle rap battles. On Saturdays, they attended open mic contests at the hip hop shop on West 7 Mile Road, which was considered ground zero for the Detroit rap scene. Struggling at first to succeed in a predominantly black industry, M was definitely appreciated by underground hip hop audiences. When he wrote verses, he wanted most of the words to rhyme. He wrote long words or phrases on paper and underneath worked on rhymes for each syllable. Although the words often made little sense, the drill helped him practice sounds and rhymes. Later, in 1996, Eminem and Proof teamed up with 4 other rappers to form the Dirty Dozen, D12, who released their first album, Devil's Night, in 2001. Eminem was soon signed to Jeff and Mark Bass's FBT Productions and recorded his debut album, Infinite, for their independent web entertainment label. The album was a commercial failure upon its initial release in 1996. One lyrical subject matter of Infinite was his struggle to raise his newborn daughter, Haley Jade Scott Mathers, while having very little money. During this period, M's rhyming style lacked the comically violent slant for which he later became known for. At this time, Eminem and Kim lived in a crime-ridden neighborhood, and the house was robbed on multiple occasions. After the release of Infinite, his personal problems and substance abuse culminated in a suicide attempt. He attracted more attention when he developed Slim Shady, a sadistic, violent alter ego.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Yes, that Slim Shady, the one you're thinking of. Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? Let's get on with it. The character allowed him to express his anger with lyrics about drugs, murder, amongst other harsh topics. In the spring of 1997, he recorded his debut EP, the Slim Shady EP, which was released that winter by Web Entertainment. The EP, with frequent references to drug use, sexual acts, mental instability, and violence, also explored the more serious themes of dealing with poverty, marital and family difficulties, and revealed his direct, self-deprecating response to criticism. Hip-hop magazine The Source, which was the golden standard of hip-hop magazines at the time, featured Eminem in its unsigned hype column in March 1998. After he was fired from his job and evicted from his home, M went to Los Angeles to compete in the 1997 Rap Olympics, an annual nationwide battle rap competition. He would go on to place second, and an Interscope Records intern in attendance named Dean Gesslinger asked Eminem for a copy of the Slim Shady EP, which was then sent to the label's CEO, Jimmy Iovine. Jimmy Iovine played the tape for record producer Dr. Dre, the founder of Aftermath Entertainment and founding member of hip-hop group NWA. Dre recalled, "In my entire career in the music industry, I have never found anything from a demo tape or a CD." When Jimmy played this, Dre said, "Find him now." He would later state on the 4th and last episode of the Defiant Ones, "I was like, what the fuck? And who the fuck is that?" expressing his shock towards Marshall's rapping talent. Although his associates criticized him for signing a white rapper, he was confident in his decision, saying, "I don't give a fuck if you're purple. If you can kick it, I'm working with you." M had idolized Dre since listening to NWA as a teenager and was nervous about working with him on an album, stating, "I didn't want to be starstruck or kiss his ass too much. I'm just a little white boy from Detroit. I had never seen stars, let alone Dr. Dre." He became more comfortable working with Dre after a series of productive recording sessions. Eminem released the Slim Shady LP in February 1999. Although it was one of the year's most popular albums, certified triple platinum by the end of the year, certified triple platinum by the end of the year, he was accused of imitating the style and subject matter of underground rapper Cage. The album's popularity was also met with controversy over his lyrics. In the song 97 Bonnie and Clyde, where he describes a trip with his infant daughter when he disposes of his wife's body. Also, in Guilty Conscience, the song that is, which encourages a man to murder his wife and her lover. Recorded from 1999 to 2000, the Marshall Mathers LP was released in May 2000. It sold 1.76 million copies in its first week, breaking the U.S. records held by Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style for fastest selling hip-hop album and Britney Spears' Baby One More Time for fastest selling solo album. The first single from the album, The Real Slim Shady, was a success despite controversies about Eminem's insults and dubious claims about celebrities For example, that Christina Aguilera had performed oral sex on Carson Daly and Fred Durst. We know Eminem. The boy used to say some wild shit. In his second single, The Way I Am, he reveals the pressure from his record company to top My Name Is. Although Eminem parodied shock rocker Marilyn Manson in the music video for My Name Is, they are reportedly on good terms. Manson is mentioned in The Way I Am and appeared in his music video and has performed a live remix of the song with him. In the third single, Stan, which samples Dido's Thank You, Eminem tries to deal with his new fame, assuming the persona of a deranged fan who kills himself and his pregnant girlfriend. The song has been ranked 296th on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Songs of All Times list. In July 2000, Eminem was the first white rapper to appear on the cover of the aforementioned Source magazine. Crazy how it works. The Marshall Mathers LP was certified diamond by the RIAA in March 2011 and has sold 21 million copies worldwide. The Eminem Show was released in May 2002. It was another success, of course, reaching number one on the charts and selling over 1.33 million copies during its first full week. The Eminem Show, which is also certified diamond, which it's just crazy at this point. The Eminem Show examines the effects of Eminem's rise to fame, his relationship with his wife and daughter, his status in the hip-hop community, while also addressing an assault charge brought by a bouncer he saw kissing his wife in 2000. The Eminem Show sold 27 million copies worldwide and was the best-selling album of 2002. Encore, released in 2004, was, of course, another success. But not as successful as his previous albums. Its sales was partially driven by its first single, Just Lose It, which contained slurs directed toward the late great Michael Jackson. On October 12, 2004, a week after the release of Just Lose It, Michael Jackson called into Steve Harvey's radio show to talk about his displeasure with the music video for the song Just Lose It, which parodies Jackson's child molesting trial, plastic surgery, and the 1984 incident where Michael Jackson's hair caught fire during the filming of a commercial. In 2007, Michael Jackson and Sony bought Famous Music from Viacom, giving him the rights to songs by Eminem, Shakira, Beck, amongst others. Eminem began his first U.S. concert tour in 3 years in the summer of 2005 with the Anger Management 3 tour, featuring 50 Cent, G-Unit, Lil Jon, D12, Obi Trice, and The Alchemist. But in August, he canceled the European leg of the tour, later announcing that he had entered drug rehabilitation for treatment of a dependency on sleep medication. Meanwhile, industry insiders speculated that Eminem was considering retirement, while rumors circulated that a double album titled The Funeral would be released. A greatest hits album, Curtain Call, The Hits, was released on December 6, 2005 by Aftermath Entertainment and sold nearly 441,000 copies in the U.S. in its first week, marking Eminem's fourth consecutive number one album on the Billboard Hot 200 and was certified double platinum by the RIAA. However, Eminem suggested that month on WKQI's Mojo in the Morning show that he would be taking a break as an artist, saying, "I'm at a point in my life right now where I feel like I don't know where my career is going. This is the reason why we called it Curtain Call, because this could be the final thing. We just don't know." In April 2006, Proof, who was Eminem's childhood friend and fellow D12 member, was murdered. 8 months later, Eminem released a compilation album titled Eminem Presents The Re-Up that featured Proof and other Shady Records artists. He'd appeared on his Shade 4-5 Sirius channel in September 2008 saying, "Right now I'm kind of just concentrating on my own stuff. For right now, I'm just banging out tracks and producing a lot of stuff. You know, the more I keep producing, the better it seems like I get because I just start knowing stuff." Interscope then confirmed that a new album would be released in spring 2009. Relapse was released on May 19, 2009. Its first single and music video, We Made You, had been released on April 7th. Although Relapse did not sell as well as Eminem's previous albums and received mixed reviews, it was a commercial success and reestablished his presence in the hip-hop world. It sold more than 5 million copies worldwide. On November 19th, he announced on his website that Relapse Refill would be released on December 21st. The album was a re-release of Relapse with 7 bonus tracks. On April 14, 2010, Eminem tweeted, "There is no Relapse 2." Although his followers thought he was not releasing an album, he had changed his title to Recovery and confirmed this by tweeting Recovery with a link to his website. Recorded from 2009 to 2010, Recovery was released on June 18th. In the US, Recovery sold 741,000 copies during its first week, topping the Billboard 200 chart yet again. Eminem's 6th consecutive US #1 album also topped the charts in several other countries. Recovery remained atop the Billboard 200 chart for 5 consecutive weeks of a 7-week total. Billboard reported that it was the best-selling album of 2010, making Eminem the first artist in Nielsen SoundScan history with 2 year-end best-selling albums. Recovery is the best-selling digital album in history of all time. The album's first single, Not Afraid, was released on April 29th and debuted atop the Billboard Hot 100. Its music video was released on June 4th. Not Afraid was followed by Love the Way You Lie, which debuted at number 2 before rising to the top of the chart. Despite criticism of its inconsistency, Recovery received positive reviews from most critics. Recovery, the best-selling album worldwide in 2010, joining 2002's bestseller, The Eminem Show, to give him 2 worldwide year-end #1 albums. In 2010, Eminem again began collaborating with Royce da 5'9" on their first EP as Bad Meets Evil. The duo was originally formed way back in 1998. The EP, Hell, the sequel, was released on June 14, 2011. In March 2011, within days of each other, The Eminem Show and the Marshall Mathers LP were certified diamond by the RIAA. Eminem is the only rapper with 2 diamond certified albums. So let that sink in. This is why he stands on that pedestal a lot of people put him on. The guy he is him, for lack of a better term. He is him. Eminem announced on May 24, 2012, that he was working on his next album, scheduled for release the following year. Without a title or release date, it was included on a number of most anticipated albums of 2013 list. During the 2013 MTV VMAs, it was announced that the album would be entitled The Marshall Mathers LP 2 and was scheduled for release on November 5th, 2013. Its lead single, Berserk, was released on August 25th and debuted at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. The album was released on schedule on November 5th. Its standard version has 16 tracks and the deluxe version included a second disc with 5 additional tracks. The Marshall Mathers LP2 was Eminem's 7th album to debut atop the Billboard 200 and had the year's 2nd largest first week sales. He was the first artist since the Beatles to have 4 singles in the top 20 of the Billboard Hot 100. On October 19, 2016, Eminem released a new song called Campaign Speech, a political hip-hop song, and announced he was working on a new album. Starting in late October 2017, Eminem and Paul Rosenberg began teasing fans, speculating was the title of the new album, titled Revival, in the form of advertisements for a fake medication of the same name. Later in November, the album's first single, Walk on Water, was released, which featured Beyonce. On November 28th, Dr. Dre posted a video confirming the album's release date as December 15th, 2017. Despite an online link of the album 2 days prior, Revival was released as planned on December 15th. It became Eminem's 8th consecutive album to top the US Billboard 200 upon release, with 197,000 copies sold in his first week. As a result, he became the first musical act to have 8 entries in a row debut atop the chart. On August 31st, 2018, Eminem released his 10th studio album and first surprise album, Kamikaze, making it his second full-length studio album in 8 months. The album topped the Billboard 200, making it his 9th album in a row to do so after selling 434,000 units in his first week. On February 23, 2019, to celebrate his 20th anniversary, Eminem released a reissue of the Slim Shady LP, including acapellas, instrumentals, and radio edit versions of tracks from the album. Eminem was among hundreds of artists whose material was destroyed in the 2008 Universal Studios fire. On June 17, 2020, Eminem released another surprise album, Music to Be Murdered By. The album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, selling 279,000 units in its first week, subsequently making him the first artist to have 10 consecutive albums debut at number 1 in the US and one of 6 artists to have released at least 10 US number 1 albums in general. A deluxe edition of the album titled Music to Be Murdered By, Side B, was released on December 18, 2020. Similar to Eminem's previous 2 albums, it was released without any prior announcement. It contains a bonus disc with 16 new tracks, with guest appearances by Skylar Grey, DJ Premier, Ty Dolla $ign, Dr. Dre, Sly Piper, Maj, and White Gold. On February 13, 2022, Eminem performed at the Super Bowl halftime show along with Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar, and Mary J. Blige, with surprise appearances from 50 Cent and Anderson .Paak. Eminem announced his second greatest hits album on July 11, 2022, entitled Curtain Call 2, which is a sequel to his first compilation, Curtain Call: The Hits. The album will cover his albums and from Relapse to Music to Be Murdered By, as well as collaborations and songs from movie soundtracks. And as of right now, that's where Eminem's story stands to date. If you know anything about rap, you know Eminem is up there with the best of the best to ever do it. He's been in our ears and hearts for over 20 years already. And at the time of this recording, I have no idea what the future holds for M musically. In my eyes, he has nothing left to prove. If his heart tells him to make more music for us, then so be it. And if not, then he shouldn't and doesn't have to. Just know that I'm here for any and all things Eminem if his heart's in it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Till next time, leave a comment on who you guys want to see a video on next. Like and subscribe to the channel. See you all in the next one. You know the vibes. Peace, love, and positivity.